Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about Muppets Most Wanted, the sequel to The Muppets from 2011. We've got this Muppet resurgence going on, and the first one did quite well, so they have brought it back, and it is unabashedly a sequel, knows it's a sequel, makes fun of that fact. That's hilarious. And this time, instead of being the same sort of movie it was the first time, they've kind of taken a page out of the original Muppet movie book of you do a movie in one genre and then you kind of parody another one next, and it kind of goes back to Great Muppet Caper, which is interesting because that was the second one, sort of like Star Trek did Wrath of Khan second again with Darkness. This one, not to say that it's like the same plot or anything. This is very different from Great Muppet Caper, but it is making fun of that genre, and it is a caper kind of movie. It is a heist film, and basically the story is a evil frog named Constantine, the world's most dangerous frog, slaps his mole on Kermit the Frog and makes him look like Constantine, and they've got that sight gag of nobody can tell which one is which because of a mole, and he and Kermit and he switch places so that he can go try to steal the crown jewels and use a world tour with the Muppets in order to mask his big caper, and Kermit gets thrown in a Russian gulag, and hilarity ensues. Sarah, how did you feel about Muppets Most Wanted?
Well, I felt like I was watching a comedy roller coaster. And by that, I mean the comedy in the movie was sometimes way up here, and sometimes kind of way down here falling flat for me. So I'm not saying it's a horrible comedy. I think generally speaking, it was very, very good. It was quite good. But compared to the first Muppet movie that we had, last time around, what I guess we're calling the first Muppet movie?
It's The Muppets, yeah.
The Muppets.
Yeah.
It just wasn't quite as good. And so I went in, and sequels always do this. You go in expecting what you had the first time, and it's not quite what you were expecting. And I think we got this time. It's sequel comedy. So, yeah, I really liked the bad guy in it. Dominic Bad Guy. Or Bad G.
Oh, so you're saying even over Constantine?
Even over Constantine. I thought for me, he was the villain. He was the brains behind the operation.
Absolutely,
he called the shots. He did. I loved him. He was more charismatic on screen. I liked it every time he was in the room. Constantine was great too, but kind of overshadowed by Mr. Bad Guy. The thing I didn't like about the movie, the thing that really kind of brought it down for me was all the gulag scenes.
Really?
Yeah. They weren't all bad, and they had sparks here and there, but I think when Kermit got thrown into the gulag, I expected something. And I'm not even sure I could tell you exactly what it was.
But you thought they were leading to some place they didn't go? Okay.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do something with it. Mm-hmm. And there really wasn't an arc or a story that came out of that. It seemed like they were pretending there was, but nothing really happened. I mean, it was just a bunch of scenes that we'd go back to every so often, reminding us that, oh, yeah, Kermit's in prison, and we're waiting for him to get out. And so it was just, it got kind of draggy. Most of the jokes from that portion fell kind of flat. But that's the rest of the movie, for the most part, was really good. It was just points here and there where I thought that it was coming back for me, whereas the first movie, The Muppets, just stayed on this constant high, and I was just pumped all the way through. This one,
you felt like it was a bit more cohesive.
Yeah, the first one was much more.
Well, would you say that roller coaster effect that you're describing is somewhat in even the storytelling and not just the comedy even?
Yeah, where there are parts where the story is really going, really punching through, and really hitting the shots, and then other times where it seems to be kind of floundering almost.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think?
Well, flip your sign real quick.
Oh yeah. Well, despite the roller coaster, I would have to say I am feeling it. I did enjoy it. It was a great experience. I think it would be a better film if the Muppets had not been so good.
Yeah,
I
well,
think that's...
it set a really high bar, and I think it's important to remember that the film almost validates some of its flaws in knowing that it's not going to be as good as the first one. Yeah. I guess you could say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but at the same time, I thought that the comedy that came out of that opening scene, dealing with the fact that, hey, we're making a sequel. There's a whole song about the fact that it's a sequel. Yeah. And I thought the fact that they went there, that they even hit the beat in the song of it's probably not going to be as good as the first one. Yeah. You can tell that there was. Either there was some difficulty in writing this, in trying to raise it up to those standards, or they went into it with that idea in mind in the first place. Yeah. Either way, though, I almost think that stuff wouldn't have worked as well had it been as great. Yeah, but I'm not saying that it should have been a not as good film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they shouldn't have made it a not as good film on purpose. But what I was thinking when I was watching that, because it
doesn't fix the cohesive problems you're talking about, and I'll go there too. I agree with that.
Opening.
Yeah.
The song was on, the imagery was on. It was huge. It was a great opening.
They kind of set themselves up for failure a little bit, yeah?
Well,
not a failure. The film is not a failure.
I thought they were talking about this being a sequel. It's of course not going to be as good as the first one. I thought it was very tongue in cheek. I was sitting there thinking, well, they're hitting it off out the gate. So I bet what they're going to do is they're going to go on and just make a movie that matches the first one, and they're just
decide for yourself.
Yeah, we can decide for ourselves, and they're just poking fun at the fact that it just is a sequel.
It would have been neat if they were a little bit less comparable, given that they are parodying a totally different genre. Mm-hmm. Again, the first one is just a comedy musical that's kind of parodying, I'd say, musicals if nothing more than anything else. Yeah. And just doing the Muppet thing, bringing it back, being about show business. Like the Muppet movie was about show business, this one is about adventure and intrigue in a really tongue-in-cheek sort of way. Sarah, this movie made me feel like my seams were going to burst from laughing, but they weren't stretched quite as far as last time.
Yeah, so you kind of had the same thing I did.
I did. When it was on, comedy-wise, it was really on.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out a criticism that I never thought I'd say about a musical. There aren't enough songs.
Yeah.
I've never seen a musical and felt that. I have with a couple things where the movie goes on for so long between songs you forget it's a musical, where it barely counts, like The Return of Captain Invincible. but here, like one of the issues I had about the first movie was that there kind of were too many songs. If I remember right, I think that was kind of a thing for me with the first one, where like they were all good, but I just felt like it was maybe kind of inundated with them. This one, maybe that was a criticism that other people had, and they tried to reel that back, because I kind of thought it wasn't enough of a musical.
Yeah.
This time, and maybe it's because I was enjoying the songs too much.
Yeah.
My best thing, never have I had this in a movie. My best thing is the music. Wow! And I don't just mean the score. I'm not doing that thing.
And not just that one particular song.
Well, no, that
was awesome.
That is raising it a bit, but yeah. Okay, so there's a song in this that Constantine has. I could not believe they gave Constantine songs. I could not believe that they had a Russian accented Kermit the Frog lookalike that sings songs.
Yeah.
And like, he's not into show business. He doesn't understand that stuff. He has stage fright. He's terrible at being in front of an audience, and yet he bursts into song just like everybody else does, which I thought was fantastic. Like it's really fun that you still have that conceit of, even in a world where people don't know how to do, people don't know how to put on a show, they still do know how to put on a show, but it's not in those scenes that are about that. It's just that it's a universe where people break out into song. Yeah. I love that. I love that kind of absurdity. It's just this sort of conceit of, okay, we do this, and he did that. He has a song in this where he's pretending to be Kermit the Frog, and he's trying to serenade Miss Piggy. And his whole thing through this whole movie is pretend to be Kermit and give everybody what they want so that they won't know what his big plan is. And he's basically just trying to keep them out of his way so that he can do this big heist plot. And he's so at the beginning of the movie, Kermit and Miss Piggy are kind of having some relationship issues. Not to go into what exactly it is, I don't want to give that away. And so then Constantine, picking up on that, tries to make it all okay by saying you can have whatever you want. And he has a song about that. And I died. I lost my mind. I don't know why. It was so funny.
I know why.
It was well, there's a stream of random things that are listed.
Yeah.
And then he starts pulling them out of nowhere. And I love that kind of comedy. It's so ridiculous. It's my favorite kind of thing. I really, really love that. But also, the style juxtaposed with what he looks and sounds like. Yeah. I mean, it's basically...
The style of it was my favorite part.
It's basically like this big over-the-top 70s romance, almost disco era thing.
Yeah, it was
great. And it's really funny. It was kind of like if an evil Kermit the Frog was doing Barry White. That's basically what we had here. And anyway, that was awesome. My biggest issue is that there are a couple of plot threads or not even plot threads, but just like ideas that are presented, and then they just don't go far enough with it. Yeah. I kind of think the movie is a little bit too conservative with its comedy sometimes. There are places where I totally would have liked to have seen certain things ramped up a lot harder. The big one, and I mentioned this a minute ago, is that they set up this idea of Constantine has stage fright, and then they don't go anywhere with it. And I can kind of see, without getting too far into it, I can kind of see what they do with it. It serves a story purpose. Yeah. There's a plot reason for it, I think, if I'm reading it right.
Yeah.
Although I think it's a little bit ambiguous about that.
Once it serves that purpose, then it just goes away.
And because of the themes of family and also leadership in the movie, I would have liked to have seen that taken to its furthest degree. Anyway, ultimately, I am feeling it. It's not as good as the original. It's not as good as the first in this new series. But like I said, I'm not sure how it could have been. And
the first one was just so good, or the Muppets.
But I will say that I think that the script could have used a little bit of tightening.
Yeah.
Go see it for nothing else, if nothing else, for a couple of songs that had me busting a gut, and also for celebrity cameos, because there's a bunch of them, and they're great and hilarious. And anyway, without and that's it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you again probably just in a couple days. Brandon and I are going to go see something for you and review something else over the weekend, and we'll see you next week. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
Thanks for watching. Ow! Hey! Why did you... Hey! Ugh! Not feeling it. I'm not feeling it!